Hello everybody, it's Connor and welcome to this special Jurassic June edition of Dino DNA, in which we'll be taking a quick look at the real-world animals that inspired the brand new species we'll be seeing in the Jurassic World Dominion preview. Now, if you're new to this segment in Dino DNA, we explore the creatures from the Jurassic franchise and see how they stack up against their prehistoric counterparts that inspired them. As of the time of recording, I've not actually seen the preview myself, so the format will be a little bit different to normal. Instead of comparing the designs in the movies to the real-world inspirations, I'll be giving you a bit of background on each animal to prep you for the preview. Now, from what we know of the preview, it's set 65 million years ago, towards the end of the Mesozoic era and the end of the non-avian dinosaur reign on planet Earth in the Cretaceous period, and is most likely set in North America. Now, despite this, it includes a fair amount of prehistoric creatures that wouldn't have existed in this time and place. I guess we'll have to wait and see how that turns out. Now, starting off with our new species, we have Moros intrepidus, currently the only new species featured in this preview that we have an image for, and what an amazing image it is. For the first time in live action history for the franchise, we have a dinosaur that is covered in feathers, which we now know that the majority of theropods had. Now, theropods are the group of two-legged lizard-hipped dinosaurs that includes most of the known carnivores. Hopefully, this is a good sign that the series will embrace feathered dinosaurs going forward. Now, on to Moros itself. Moros lived in Cretaceous North America around 96 million years ago. It was a tyrannosaur, belonging to the same group as series favourite Tyrannosaurus rex. However, unlike the T-Rex, Moros was roughly human-sized and lived around 30 million years before the Tyrannosaurus rex appeared at around 65 million years ago, the setting of the Dominion preview. Now, it holds a special and important place in scientific understanding, especially surrounding the Tyrannosaurid family. When it was first unearthed in Utah only 2 years ago in 2019, it was the oldest Cretaceous-era Tyrannosaurid found in North American rock, helping to bridge the gap in knowledge from the Tyrannosaur's origins in Asia and their eventual dominance in North America. Its name, Moros, aptly means impending doom in ancient Greek, foreshadowing the eventual place of tyrannosaurs at the top of the food chain in North America. Big things have small beginnings, and I think this is a great addition to the franchise and a species we haven't seen represented in any Jurassic media so far. Second up is a creature we've only had a small glimpse of in that preview image, but as confirmed by Colin Trevorrow on Twitter, it is the Gigantosaurus. Gigantosaurus lived at a similar time to Moros, around 99 to 97 million years ago. Unlike Moros, however, Gigantosaurus lived in South America in what is now modern-day Argentina. This giant southern lizard was discovered actually in the same year that the first Jurassic Park film came out in cinemas in 1993 and named 2 years later in 1995. You've no doubt heard of Gigantosaurus. It's well known as one of the largest theropod dinosaurs ever discovered. Current remains only account for about 70% of the total skeleton, but based on estimates it may have reached lengths to up to 13 meters long, which places it at around the same size as Tyrannosaurus. Paleontologists are unsure as to which of these giant theropods was larger, with T-Rex potentially tipping the balance in terms of weight and mass, while Gigantosaurus might be slightly longer. It was thought to have been an apex predator of its ecosystem and may have preyed upon young sauropods. Unlike Moros, it's not a tyrannosaurid, instead belonging to the Carcharodontosaurid group, which includes its namesake, Carcharodontosaurus, and also Acrocanthosaurus. These theropods are known for their distinctive narrowing snouts, as opposed to the more robust skull of tyrannosaurs. As a result, Gigantosaurus probably wouldn't have had as strong a bite force as Tyrannosaurus rex, and would have relied upon multiple powerful bites to take down prey, instead of delivering a bone-crunching blow. Now, I'm personally very excited to see this dinosaur represented in the Jurassic film franchise after its first appearance in the Lost World PlayStation 1 video games back in 1997, and most recently in Jurassic World Evolution. Now, Steve Brissati, the paleontological advisor for Dominion, has personally worked on Carcharodontosaurs, so I'm looking forward to seeing what the design ends up being in the final film and in the preview. We may as well stay in South America for our next new dinosaur because it is Dreadnoughtus, a massive sauropod also discovered in Argentina. It wouldn't have appeared on the continent until about 10 million years after Gigantosaurus' time, however, with an estimated range of 84 to 66 million years ago. Dreadnoughtus belonged to the Titanosaur family, and at a whopping estimated 26 meters long, could possibly be one of the largest land animals to have ever existed. Like Moros, it's a recent discovery, being found in 2014, and is known as the most complete skeleton of any titanosaur ever found. It has a really cool name, which in ancient Greek means fear nothing, in reference to its immense size. Even more exciting is that the one skeleton we have for it was probably not even fully grown, as it lacked an outer layer of bone only found in mature vertebrate animals, meaning that they could have grown even bigger. This would make Dreadnoughtus a contender for one of the largest, if not the largest, dinosaurs to have ever existed. We've seen hints at Dreadnoughtus joining the franchise since 2018, in which its embryo was shown in that final montage for Fallen Kingdom, and also its appearance in Jurassic World Evolution. It will be interesting to see if this animal makes it into the present day sections of Dominion, and potentially knock the crown off the head of Brachiosaurus as the largest on-screen dinosaur. Now, from something so big, we're going to take it right back down to another small theropod, Oviraptor. We're jumping across oceans for this one, as Oviraptor was discovered in what is now modern-day Mongolia in Asia, living in the late Cretaceous about 71 to 75 million years ago. Now, late Cretaceous Mongolia is a very special place, as Oviraptor lived in the same habitat as Velociraptor, my personal favourite animal in the series so far. It was a very distinctively bird-like dinosaur, despite not belonging to the bird lineage, the avian group. Instead of teeth, it had a hard keratinous beak at the front of its mouth, with teeth further in, and would have also been covered in feathers like most other small theropods. It also had a very interesting crest on its head that was most likely used for display, like the modern-day cassowary bird. It was very small, at only about 1.6 meters long. That's around the size of a medium dog. Now, Oviraptor, that name means egg thief, which is actually a rather disfortunate name. The original fossil discovered in 1923 was discovered alongside a nest of eggs, in which it was misinterpreted as stealing from. Since then, multiple other Oviraptor fossils have been discovered with similar nests and also young Oviraptor, which suggests that it was actually brooding or taking care of the eggs. This poor dinosaur was actually a great parent. While its diet is still debated, it's highly unlikely that it fed on eggs, as its beak was more comparable to that of parrots, indicating an omnivorous diet of small prey, fruit, seeds and nuts. I'm really looking forward to seeing the Jurassic take on this unique little dinosaur, but also really hopeful that they don't fall into the old tropes of Oviraptor being an egg thief. From Disney's Dinosaur to The Land Before Time, it's pretty outdated by this point. Now, the next dinosaur is perhaps the one I'm excited for the most and is a personal favourite of mine, Iguanodon. The original remains of Iguanodon are kept in a natural history museum in London, which is where I currently work, and is the closest we have to a British dinosaur icon. Iguanodon was a large herbivore at around 10 meters long, and most likely could walk on all four legs, but potentially run on two. It possessed a very distinctive thumb spike on the inside of its forelimbs, and it's most widely assumed that this was a defensive feature used to ward off predators, but could have been used to crack open seeds and fruits. Iguanodon was the second dinosaur ever named in science almost 200 years ago, in 1825, and was actually named before the word dinosaur was coined. It was discovered by a personal paleontological hero, that was a mouthful, of mine, Gideon Mantell, and his wife Mary Mantell, here in the UK. Back then, they didn't have a clear idea of what dinosaurs looked like, and its first reconstruction looked more like a big scaly rhino, with its distinctive thumb spike mistaken for a nose horn. The original models of these reconstructions can still be found standing in Crystal Palace Park in London, where they have stood for over 150 years. As a result, Iguanodon is perhaps the best example of how scientific knowledge of dinosaurs changes over the years as new discoveries are made. Since then, Iguanodon has been found across Europe, and closely related species have also been found in Asia and North America. The original Iguanodon remains have since been reclassified as Mantellosaurus in honour of the Mantels. You can probably tell I'm quite excited about this one. Iguanodon made its first appearance in Jurassic, as a franchise as a whole, in 1993 as a little die-cast figure, and was most recently featured in Jurassic World Evolution as part of the Cretaceous dinosaur pack alongside Dreadnoughtus. Here's hoping we'll get to see them use their thumb spike. To round out our roster of brand new prehistoric animals, we have something that isn't a dinosaur at all, but a pterosaur, and a heavily anticipated one at that. It's Quetzalcoatlus. We're bringing it back to North America with this one, and with a species that actually existed 65 million years ago, potentially alongside Tyrannosaurus rex, although in a different part of North America. Quetzalcoatlus was one of the largest pterosaurs and therefore one of the largest flying animals to have ever existed, with a wingspan of around 10 meters across, which is as big as some small planes. Now, its awesome name comes from the Aztec god Quetzalcoatl, a feathered serpent, which is quite appropriate given that it has a long neck and also was probably covered in pycnofibers, which are feather-like filaments. The first and largest specimen was found in the early 1970s in Texas, which is mainly submerged under a great inland sea during the Cretaceous period. In my personal opinion, Quetzalcoatlus and the group of pterosaurs it belonged to, the Azarchids, would have been some of the scariest creatures to have ever stalked the earth, with human-length, hatchet-like beaks, and when they landed they would have stood as tall as giraffes. I think this recent reconstruction by Blue Rhino Studios can really put that into perspective. It is widely agreed that they would have lived in a similar way to modern marabou storks from Africa, prowling reed beds on their long legs and snapping up prey, most likely including small, and by that I mean human-sized, dinosaurs. We're long overdue a live-action depiction of Quetzalcoatlus in Jurassic, having made its debut almost since the beginning in 1994 with its appearance in the Jurassic Park Series 2 toy line, and it was also in that leaked pitch trailer for Jurassic World that came out around 2013. Here's hoping that its only appearance won't be in this preview, but it will be in the rest of the movie and maybe in further installments in the future. With its massive head and unnerving gaze, it has the potential to be one of the scariest creatures in the Jurassic franchise. Alongside all of these new prehistoric species, the Nasutoceratops will be also appearing in the preview, fresh off of its first appearance in Battle at Big Rock. We'll be covering Nasutoceratops and other ceratopsians from the Jurassic franchise in an upcoming episode of Dino DNA, so keep an eye out for that. I'm personally really looking forward to this preview and Jurassic's take on the Cretaceous period. It's not often we get a big budget rendition of a prehistoric era, and time anachronisms aside, this will be a great first look at what's in store for us for the full film coming out next year. It looks like we've got a proper best hits of all the best Cretaceous dinosaurs and prehistoric animals on our hands. Now, thank you so much for having me on this special live stream on the Jurassic Park podcast, and I'll catch you all on the next episode of Dino DNA. Bye bye.